Welcome to Daily Life Connection, our video talk time as we continue to explore who God is and how He works and what difference that makes in our everyday living. Today, I want to focus on the idea that God is a risk taker. A risk taker. There's a wonderful song out these days called The Reckless Love of God, and it talks about how even before we had any response to Him, He was loving us. He was taking a risk on us. In Romans chapter 5, the Apostle Paul says it this way. He said, while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. And then a verse or two later, he says, and if while we were enemies, he reconciled us. Amazing. Before we showed any signs or there was any evidence that we would respond in a positive way, he took a risk. He took a risk on us. I mean, he risked it all. He went all in. He went to the cross. He died, taking the risk that we would respond to what he had done for us. Amazing. In Luke chapter 15, Jesus tells that wonderful story about if a shepherd has 100 sheep and 99 are safe in the fold, won't he go and look for that one? No, he wouldn't. What farmer would risk 99% of his profits in order to get one lost one? There's no guarantee that he'll even find it, or that if he finds it, it may be dead or chewed up by wolves. Who would go and risk 99 safe sheep to possibly get one? God would. That's the kind of God he is. He's a risk taker when it comes to his children and to getting every last one of them home and close to him. And then look at Matthew chapter 28. Just before Jesus ascends back into heaven, he gathers the 12, or the 11 rather, that are with him, and he says, I'm going to turn this whole operation over to you. Really? I wouldn't let that bunch teach my Sunday school class. I mean, there's no track record of any success there. They're failures, they're fighters, James and John are fighting for power within the thing, and Peter just goes off and does crazy things. And I mean, Thomas doesn't even half believe that it's all true. And Jesus turns everything, the whole future of the kingdom of heaven, over to these guys and says, you go ahead. You make disciples of the nations. You do it. What a risk taker he is. Amazing God. So, what does that have to do with you and I? What difference does that make in how we live out our days? Well, we need to remember he took an incredible risk loving me, loving you. That he continues to take a risk, entrusting us to stand in his place. Jesus said to the 12 or to the 11 that were left up in the upper room, as the Father has sent me, so I'm going to send you into the world to stand in for me. Wow, amazing. Even if I'm high risk. You know, in our world, there are some people who are identified as high risk offenders. It's very likely that they will commit a crime again if they're released into the public. That's who we are. We're high risk offenders. As far as breaking God's laws, we're very likely to do it again. But he risks everything on us, his love, his acceptance, his blessings. Amazing. Here's, I think, the bottom line for me. Even if no one else will take a risk on me, he'll still bet on me. That's incredibly wonderful news. My God is a risk taker. And even if I'm high risk, he'll take a risk on me and you. Let's think about that today. God bless. Talk tomorrow.